guys, it's your girl Samantha here, and today I wanted to report on this news story that was published October 30th, 2021. It's from Yahoo Money, and it says 5 reasons Black women are ready to quit corporate America.
Welcome back. Well, women have disproportionately been forced to leave the workforce as a result of the pandemic compared to men. But even within that demographic, Black women in this country are exiting corporate America at an astounding rate. Mandy Woodruff Santos, Yahoo Finance contributor and co-host of the Brown Ambition podcast, joins us now. Mandy, thank you so much for your time. I don't know if this applies only to Black women or to other minorities as well, but you do say there are 5 major reasons Black women are leaving. And the first one is our jobs were ravaged by the pandemic. Can you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, a lot of minority women were impacted by the pandemic. Women in general were ravaged by the pandemic, but Black women in particular are in the jobs that were most impacted by the pandemic. We're talking about service jobs, travel and tourism. You think about restaurant workers, childcare providers, healthcare providers. Those are often Black women. So, whether it was from our choice or not, often we were finding that the industries that we were in just were completely susceptible to the repercussions of the pandemic, which was truly unfortunate.
Yes, and Mandy, great to see you back here. What are some of the solutions here? We were just talking to a previous guest about some of the wealth gap, especially along racial lines. Do you partner with any other groups? Do you just raise awareness? What are you aiming for here?
No, I'm just here to cause controversy, Jared. That's what I do. But no, honestly, the first step to the solution is understanding why Black women are fleeing corporate America and what can they do. Yes, I don't think the onus is on Black women. Listen, we tried to make it work. It's like any toxic relationship. It just, we had to put our own life vest on, our own oxygen mask, and get out. Because honestly, corporate America, it can be a wonderful place. I built a wonderful career myself working for corporations. But it gets mentally, emotionally draining to be the only one, to feel like you are constantly underappreciated, undervalued. Black women, one of the many reasons why we are quitting corporate America is because we're just tired of not making equal pay for equal work. I mean, we don't have a century, which is what experts say. That's how long it's going to take for Black and brown women to reach pay equity. We don't have a century to wait. Like, I got kids I need to feed now, or one kid and a dog. She counts too. So that is one of the reasons why we are leaving. We're not leaving to do nothing. We are leaving for higher pay elsewhere, because I think the pandemic has really helped to solidify in our brains like where our value is, and to also become more brave and courageous in asking for it. It also helps that the job market these days is on fire. So a lot of Black women in particular, when you feel underappreciated, when you've been underpaid and mistreated, when you've been the only one for a long time, we are a textbook flight risk. And it's a shame for the companies that are losing us. But at the same time, I completely see why we are, reaching for new opportunities.
I actually love one of the reasons that you pointed out that women are leaving, and that is because they're starting to get more savvy, right? They're launching their own businesses and they're taking on side hustles as well. So that is really taking some ownership there, right?
Absolutely. Black women are among the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs. I am one of them. I'm a newbie business owner myself, but it's because honestly, when you look at the opportunities for growing wealth, to own our time, to take back the narrative of our own careers and to really control our own destiny, I think a lot of Black women, we are just very well suited to running our own businesses and to becoming entrepreneurs. So I share one stat in my story that shows that Black women-owned businesses grew at 50% between 2014 and 2019. I wish I had more recent numbers. I did try to find them, but I can only imagine it's gotten even more substantial in the wake of the pandemic.
Well, at least one is sitting before us right now. And congratulations on your entrepreneurship, by the way. I'm just wondering, if you look across different industries, maybe even specific companies, some are doing this better than others. Where are women leaving from, and where are they heading towards that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think it's for me, I do a lot of career coaching. I actually posted a free link to sign up for career coaching from me to my Instagram followers, all 8,000 of them. I had nearly 300 people pour their hearts out to me about why they were looking to leave their job. And the majority of the women I'm talking to, they are not entry level. They are people who are mid level and they just don't feel like they can crack that next rung on the ladder. And they're just tired of waiting for that opportunity. They come from the education sector. They come from travel and tourism sector, healthcare sector. These are industries, like I said, that even if you were fortunate enough to keep your job in the wake of the pandemic, because there have been people who have been leaving, the more pressure put on those who are left behind. I'm seeing this high rate of burnout, especially among the women that I'm talking to from those sectors that were hardest hit by the pandemic. They're just truly burnt out and looking for a change.
Mandy, I truly love to see women mentoring women. Mandy Woodrow-Santos, Yahoo Finance contributor and co-host of the Brown Ambition podcast. Thank you so much for your time. That was a really fascinating discussion.
When I stepped out on my own as an entrepreneur early this year, I decided to pay it forward and offer free one-on-one career coaching sessions. I threw up a link to a form on Instagram, and within 48 hours, more than 200 applications poured in. The vast majority of the bunch were Black women, and a whopping 90% said they were looking to quit their jobs by the end of the year. Now, I'm the first to admit this survey sample is far from nationally representative. My social media following comprises largely women of color, which, guys, I know I hate that term because I'm like, what are women of color? Between the ages of 25 and 44, and since the majority of them know me from my podcast, Brown Ambition, they tend to be an especially career-driven group. But with some additional research, I realized my rudimentary survey was really a snapshot of a much larger trend in corporate America. Black women really are leaving traditional 9-to-5 jobs at staggering rates, and here's why. So 1, our jobs were ravaged by the pandemic. Black women saw the slowest job recovery since January 2020 and suffered the largest decline in labor force participation, according to the Labor Department. This was largely because women of color, I can't with that. Are you talking about African American women, Hispanic women, Asian women? Let's not get lazy and try to be colorblind. It's very rude. So basically, other women who aren't white were over-indexed in the types of jobs most susceptible to cutbacks, such as travel, tourism, and service jobs. Today, the unemployment rate for Black women sits at 6.9% compared to an overall unemployment rate of 4.8%. It took until 2018 for Black women's employment to recover from the Great Recession, and now almost all of those hard-won gains have been erased, wrote Janelle Jones, chief economist for the Labor Department. 2, we're tired of working twice as hard for unequal pay. It would take more than a century for Black women to reach pay equity in the U.S., and honestly, a lot of us just don't have that kind of patience. Among the women who filled out my career coaching application, the overwhelming majority, 84.5%, said higher pay was their top reason for quitting. The reality is that quitting one job for a new opportunity can often lead to much higher salary increases than remaining with your current employer. And this is true. In the IT field, when I was working in corporate America, I left about 5 years ago for good. That was like a going trend in my field for all races and all genders, all groups across the board. We all knew that the faster way to get a quote unquote promotion or to give yourself a salary increase was to go for an interview and get a new job. So it says, as a Black woman who had the added economic disadvantage of graduating during a national recession, I learned to aggressively pursue jobs with higher pay in order to catch up to my peers. On average, I increased my income 38% each time I quit for a new opportunity. This won't be the case for everyone, of course, but when the labor market is as desperate for talent as it is these days, I encourage working women to consider leveraging their skills for new, higher-paying opportunities elsewhere. Number 3, we're launching our own businesses and starting side hustles, such as I did. So Black women are among the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the country. Between 2014 and 2019, women-owned businesses grew by 21%, but Black women-owned businesses grew at a whopping rate of 50%, according to a recent study by American Express. The number of Black women running a side business outside of regular work increased 99% compared with an increase of 32% for all sidepreneurs. I joined the ranks of Black women business owners earlier this year when I launched my own career coaching and consulting firm. Speaking from experience, the scheduling flexibility and financial upside alone have been enough reason for me to kiss traditional 9-to-5 life goodbye for now. I'm gone for good, and I am a closing agent. I love it. I plan to get my license and move up in my new career field as a closing agent. I'm an entrepreneur. and I can create my own hours. I have way more flexibility. I also have way more control over how much money I make and what my salary is going to be from year to year. I wouldn't change it for the world. So next, we're tired of waiting to be recognized by higher ups. I've held dozens of coaching sessions with Black women looking for career changes this year. A common complaint is feeling overlooked for promotions and lacking positive feedback from their managers. Research shows it's not all in our heads. In a nationwide survey of more than 3,000 women professionals, nearly two-thirds of Black women, 64%, said they felt they needed to work harder than white women to advance in work. And let's not even get started on this trying to compete against white men. So more than any other racial ethnic group, according to Working Mother Media, Black women are also glaringly absent in senior management. Women of color, how do you go from saying Black women to women of color? Like, we're not colorblind. Everyone knows what race is, what is race. I don't like being lumped in. So they must mean women who are not white make up 70% of entry-level positions, but just 9% of senior managers. And even still, you can't even say that because technically some women, basically, if you're not Black, you're white. So they might say Asians are not white, but you are. I mean, there's Black Asians and there's white Asians. I just wish they would stop treating us like we're a box of crayons and that is not more than skin deep in this country. This country was built on race, so people need to stop trying to be quote-unquote colorblind. I'm not a crayon. I have my own race, my own culture, and this country was built on it. This is not the time now to be trying to forget it after all that you've done to Black people. So I like to be very specific when they talk about Black women. So it says, even though there's 70% of entry-level positions are made up of women, but there's just 9% of senior managers. And then I'm assuming that when they're saying white, they mean Nordic white, like European white women, I guess. 7% of VP level positions, 5% of SVP positions, and 4% of C-suite positions. And this is what women who are not the traditional European Nordic white is making up in the corporate America, according to the 2021 Women in the Workplace report by leanin.org. And last but not least, it's exhausting being a Black woman at work, and it really is. It really is. It really is. I was so over being fake, so over trying to be something I'm not. It's just trying to hold your tongue. It's just too much. It's too much. It's like I'm here. I already have to do a job. The job in itself is work. You know, I've gotten degrees and certifications and training to do this work, and now I also have to act a whole nother way just to be productive and just to be like liked. Just to be liked at work, and it's just not worth it. So it's hard to describe the mental and emotional toll that it takes to be a Black woman in traditional corporate settings. Imagine enduring years of microaggressions, dealing with managers who underestimate your talents, knowing you're likely paid less than your peers, and feeling as if you've got to work twice as hard to have the same opportunities as others. Throw into the mix a pandemic that killed Black men and women at higher rates than any other group and wreaked havoc on our finances, and it's a recipe for burnout. Even for the rare Black woman like myself who managed to make it to the senior director level, the reality of being the only one still took a toll. I've been given outstanding performance reviews and yet told I was too intimidating to my colleagues. And see, that's what I don't like. It's the too intimidating. It's the you have an attitude. Those are like the microaggressions that are really demoralizing. And it's like, just say you don't like me because I'm Black, because I'm never going to be Becky. And I don't want to be. So, someone else said I've been confused. She said she also had been confused for the office assistant, which is kind of funny because I was actually always confused as being like the person in charge. So weird. Anyways, I've been critiqued for my vocal support for Black Lives Matter and dismissed as a diva. I've been patronized by well-meaning white superiors far too many times to count. I managed to carve out a stellar career I'm proud of, as do many Black women. I'm going to just say Black women. She keeps saying women of color. It's like, female woman, remember, what are you, Black, a crayon? Are you of color? Like, what is your race? Other? So she says, but I can 100% understand why so many Black women are simply fed up. And let me look at her, because I'm like, is she not Black? Okay, she said Mandy Woodruff Santos. Mandy Woodruff Santos. I don't know if she's biracial. Like, I just don't understand why she's switching between Black and women of color. I'm not getting that. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.